Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and welcome to Rachel's Eight-Legged Wonders. So today what I'd like to do is introduce you to a couple of the new additions that I got at the Tinley Reptile Breeders Expo in Chicago, Illinois. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go, but a few of my good friends with Fear Not Tarantulas did go, and they brought me back a few little surprises. So I'd like to introduce you to them today and talk a little bit about their care. So the first thing I'd like to introduce you guys to is these two little spiderlings that I got. I've got one here and one in this little enclosure. They're both the same species. These are the Nhandu chromatus. Let's see if you can see him right here. He's kind of curled up. He's a little bit afraid, or she. Don't know the sex yet, obviously. You can kind of see the little striations on the legs here. So the common name for the Nhandu chromatus is the Brazilian red and white. Obviously, based on the name, you can infer that they hail from Brazil. As spiderlings, just like any other spiderling, you're going to want to give your little guy a little bit of extra moisture. As a spiderling, they don't have that waxy coating on their exoskeleton like they do as juveniles and adults. And this little guy at this stage has most likely started to develop that waxy coating. As you can see, he's pretty much fully haired. He looks like basically a miniature version of the adult now, just with less vibrant colors. So that waxy coating has probably at least partially formed at this point. However, it's still good to keep a little bit of extra moisture in there. So what I've done is just taken and moistened down one section of this little enclosure here. So he can go and get the extra moisture if he wants. As spiderlings especially, the Nhandu chromatus are opportunistic burrowers. So it means, by saying opportunistic and not obligate, it means that they do not have to burrow to survive. However, they do prefer to burrow. So I've given him over here a little starter burrow, which he has not used as of yet. He's just kind of been out in the open. This one, as compared to the other one, this one has been definitely a lot more shy and is hidden away. And this one has been more out in the open. So that you can kind of already see a little bit of so-called personality differences between the two spiderlings of the same species. Everybody's a little bit different. As adults, I believe these guys get somewhere in the 6.5 to 7 inch range. I'll have to double check on the size there, but I believe that's about where they get. They don't tend to be aggressive or overly defensive, but they can be very heavy hair kickers. So that's something that you want to be aware of, especially if you have an adult, that if you're dealing with the spider, rehousing it, feeding it, etc., you want to keep your hands fairly clear and especially your face fairly clear so that you don't get kicked. Especially if you're like me and you have a little bit of a sensitivity to urticating hairs, then you want to keep your body away from the flying hairs as much as possible. They turn into really beautiful adults, obviously red and white. They have a mostly red rump with a grayish white carapace. Very beautiful adults. Very slow growers. I've been told that these little guys are actually just over a year old. So not as slow growing as, say, a Euathlus species red, which we talked about in my last video, but still very slow growing. So I don't expect these guys to be full size for at least another few years. Really cute little spiderlings. They've been good eaters for me so far too, which is great. So next thing I'd like to show you guys is something a little bit different. It's not a spider, it's an arachnid, but not a spider. If you want to come in close there, honey. This is the Phrenus margina maculatus, which is also known as the Florida whip scorpion or Florida whip spider. They're found in Florida. They're also found in Brazil and some areas of the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Oh yeah, that's a good shot. Yeah, he looks really good in that picture. You can see over here, he's got this long little arm waving around. Oh, he just tucked it back in because I touched him. Those are not antennae, even though they look like antennae. They're actually a modified leg. So he has all 8 legs, just like a regular arachnid, a regular spider, or any other kind of arachnid would have. But those long legs are a modified leg called an antenniform leg, which basically just means a leg that functions as an antenna. So those legs are used as sensory organs and not as walking legs, but they are a true leg. They hold, much like a scorpion, their little pedipalps. Oh, sorry, little dude. Their little pedipalps are held in front of them in the form of little claws, similar to scorpion's claws, but they have some more projections than a scorpion's claws do. And these little guys are obviously, they're babies right now, and the Florida whip scorpion doesn't get as big as the huge Vietnamese ones, the Damon diadema, but they still get impressively sized. So I have this little guy here, and let me, before I close this up, actually, let me mention what I'm going to do with this little one is actually, oh, he's on my hand. These guys are very similar to vinegaroons in temperament, so if you end up accidentally handling, you don't have to worry too much about getting pinched. They have no venom, so you don't have to worry even if they do, but they're very docile. Anyway, what I was going to say, being that they're from Florida and other high rainforesty type areas, you want to keep the substrate fairly damp, not wet, because you don't want to encourage mold growth, but you do want to keep it fairly damp. And these little guys like to be vertical. As you can see, he's going back behind his little piece of cork bark there. So what I'm going to do, this is what the enclosure that they came into me from Tinley, but what I'm going to do is put them in something a little bit taller, probably another 2.5 inches, and give them actually a longer piece of cork bark so they have a little bit more space to walk around and hang upside down if they want to. This piece seems to want to fall over a lot. It's just a little too small. It's okay for the time being, but in the next couple days they will be rehoused. And also I've noticed, I don't know if for those of you who have this species or similar species, this is the other little guy here, I've noticed that they might not really go for pre-killed or injured food like his little spiderling does. These little ones seem to prefer to have fully able running food. So if you have a little baby like this and you go ahead and give it full live food like a cricket or a roach, just keep in mind that you'll need to come back and check in a couple hours and make sure that it's been eaten. If it hasn't, I would go ahead and remove it, because at this stage, at this size, they're still very vulnerable to being picked on by their food. Roaches and crickets both have really strong mandibles, and especially if your little guy goes into a molt when you're not expecting it, that could spell disaster for your new little friend. So that's not something that I would recommend doing if you feed live food. Don't leave it in there for overnight. Don't leave it in there for more than a couple hours, and come back and check. They are nocturnal, so you may want to feed them in the evening, and you'll notice too that they are more active in the evening. During the day, these little guys were just hiding behind their cork bark, but now, as you can see, like this one is, he's feeling, he's looking around, he's kind of interested, so to speak, in what's going on. So this is the Phrenius margin-maculatus, the Florida tailless whip spider. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These were my new additions from the Tinley show in Chicago, Nhandu chromatus and Phrenius margin-maculatus. I'm still learning how to say that one. So it's a good little bit of a tongue twister for sure. And anyway, I am on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll link those for you guys in a pinned comment at the end of this video, and if you go down below. Also, if you like this video and you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button over here, and remember to hit the little bell so you know when I've posted a new video, so you don't miss any cool new updates. And I'll have a couple other little videos over here that you guys can check out as well. Have fun spidering!